Let's talk about hair loss. Woo! Us older guys. Guys over the age of 35. So if you're under the age of 35, this video may not apply to you, or it might. Some of you guys are losing your hair sooner than is normal. But certainly if you're over the age of 35, and if you're under the age of 35, you can use this video as a guide to what you will have to deal with soon, statistically speaking, a little later in your life in a few years. So, I'm going to talk about some things I am trying with some hair loss, an experiment I'm about to start running. I'll show you what I'm about to try, and I will kind of keep you apprised of what happens. Plus, I'll give you some techniques on how to deal with some certain areas of thinning hair that you can use to make your hair look less bad as you get older. I am Caleb Jones, and this is Alpha Male 2.0. Freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I do 5 videos a week here on how to make both your business life and your woman life more free, because you need both. We are doing an online course giveaway right now. This is my online course on how you can create your own location-independent income. Normally retails for about $1,400, but you might be able to get it for free. All you need to do is be a subscriber here at YouTube, like this video, and leave a comment, and I will announce the winner of the drawing on a regular basis at the YouTube community feed here at this YouTube channel. Okay, so hair loss. Got a few things I'm going to show you here. As most of you already know, I have already addressed most of my hair loss. I have what's called non-surgical hair restoration, so a decent percentage of the hair you see on the top of my head here is fake. It is mixed in with my real hair. And I did that about 8-9 years ago. At the end of this video, I will link to a video where I talk more about that. But I have, unfortunately, run into a new problem because of my wonderful genetics dealing with hair loss, and that is I'm starting to go thin on the sides of my head. So, about that really quick. When you have hair loss, you are genetically wired at a DNA level, men, to only lose hair on the top of your head. You are genetically wired to not lose hair around the sides and the back of your head. So if you can think of like the Captain Picard haircut. Most men are never going to lose any hair on the sides, the backs of their heads. They're just not, you probably never have to worry about that. However, there is a small percentage of you, and unfortunately I am in that small percentage, who have weird genetics where you will start to thin on the side of your head. Not typical, pretty rare. Sometimes it has to do with your health. If you're going through a health problem or cancer or something like that, you may have some trouble with the sides of your head. Other times, in my case, it's just fucking genetics. And genetics are one of those things where you take the good with the bad. So in some respects, I am genetically blessed in certain areas, particularly intellectually, and in other areas, I got royally fucked with my genetics, and there's just nothing you can do about it. You manage it as best as you can, and the objective, as I've talked about many times for you older guys, in terms of Alpha Male 2.0, where you're never going to be monogamous, is to, as you age, look the least bad as you can. Not good, but the least bad. So if you have thinning hair, unless you shave your entire head and you have the facial structure for that, if you can't do that, your hair is not going to ever look good, but it'll look less bad than if you didn't do anything. So my hair will never look great. It will never look perfect, ever, for the rest of my life. It just looks much less bad than if I didn't address it. So same thing here, for those of you guys who have a problem with where you're thinning maybe on the side of your head. So, what I have done is, first let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I turn to the side here, you can see I am definitely thinning. I just had a haircut, so it's a little more pronounced. Definitely thinning on the side of my head. I think I'm worse on this side than this side. What I normally do is I put product in there to make the hair look less sparse. So what you guys can do is you can use this. There's 2 things I use. One is this shit. I don't know if it focuses or not. This is called Quick Fix. No Gray Quick Fix. You can get this on Amazon. I don't make any money from this. And it's basically this black goop. It looks like mascara for a woman, but it's not for guys. And you just brush it into your hair, and it makes your hair look much less thin. You can also do this on the top of your head if you have very short hair on the top of your head. Obviously, I don't have that problem because I already addressed that, so I can brush this in. That's the first thing you guys can use. And sometimes I'll use this stuff for if I'll do certain videos, or if I'm gonna get my picture taken, or if I'm gonna make a public appearance and shit like that. I'll put a little bit in the side, and it makes this look a lot better. Right now, there's literally no product in here because I wanted to show you guys what my problem was. So the other thing you can do is, and you can use this on the side of your head or the top of your head, I've mentioned this before, these are called nanofibers. There are many different brands. This is called Strand Maximizer. Yeah. at strandmaximizer.com. This is basically, I'm not going to open it, this is basically a very fine powder that is the same color as your hair. And it works like a pepper shaker. And if you are thinning on the top of your head, you can shake it and it'll stick to your scalp and stick to the hair around your scalp, the hair you still have, and it makes your hair look more thick. I used this before I had the procedure done 8-9 years ago. This is what I used when I started to thin a little bit. What you can also do on the side of your head, you can get an attachment, this funky ass thing, it attaches on the top, and you can actually spray it so it sprays on the side of your head or the back of your head. That's something else I use occasionally. Usually I just use this other stuff. But over time, I think this has started to get worse. So I am attempting a different solution. This solution may or may not work. It takes about 4 or 5 months to see if it works, but we'll see if it works or not, and I will keep you apprised. And that is laser hair restoration. So usually this comes in the form of combs. You can get a laser comb and you brush your hair with this laser comb. What I got is this thing. Let me show you. This is called this fucking Star Trek looking thing. This is called a Hair Max hair band. You can also get a Hair Max cap, which actually looks like a baseball cap, and it covers your entire head. So I don't need to deal with the top of my head. I've already resolved that. I'm focused on the sides of my head. The science behind this, I've done a lot of research on this. Caleb, is that bullshit? That seems like bullshit. Yeah, it seemed like bullshit to me. So I've done some research on this. When you have laser light pushed onto your skin, it stimulates the follicle growth of follicles that are in a certain state where they can be more easily regrown, and that is generally speaking, as I said, the follicles on the side of your head and the back of your head, sometimes the top of your head, sometimes not. They have done some third-party scientific studies on this, and the findings are that it does work for some people. It works for some guys, and it doesn't work for other guys. It's kind of a crapshoot. So digging into the research further, I have found that the type of men where this laser treatment works the best are men who have very light skin tone. Does that look like anyone you know? Yeah, so I'm the whitest white man on earth. So boom, there we go. So if you have a lighter skin tone, the laser therapy has a higher probability of working. If you have a darker skin tone, it has less of a probability, although it can, depends on the guy. But your odds go up if you have a very light skin tone, number one. Number two, it also helps if the hair, the area where the hair is going thin, is very short. Well, perfect. I like to have the sides of my head really, really, really short. So I am the literally perfect candidate for this thing. How much this thing costs? This normally costs about $800. I got this for $500 because of some kind of Thanksgiving sale. You can get them online. You can get them through hair restoration clinics in your local city, what have you. My God, Caleb, that's a lot of money. As I've said many times, thinning hair is an issue for older men, not younger men. Older men have more money, so this shouldn't be a problem for you to fix. Now, if for some reason you are a young man and you have a thinning problem, I don't know, tell you, you're a statistical anomaly. So if I quote prices like $500, $600, $1,000 for hair restoration services or systems, if you're over the age of 40, that shouldn't be a problem. By the way, so to put this in context in terms of my genetics, my dad was 100% bald, like Captain Picard, bald, no hair by the time he was 29. I was born when he was 31, so I literally have never seen my dad with hair. That's my genetics. Now, fortunately for me, kind of, I don't take after my dad's side of the family in terms of physical appearance. Mentally, I do. But in terms of physical appearance, I take after 100% after my mom's family. I don't look like my dad at all, but I look like a clone to my mom's brothers. And so I didn't have thinning hair until I was in my mid-30s when I started to notice it. Started to notice a little bit of thinning. Well into my mid-30s, I had very dark, thick hair. Well into my mid-30s, I mean, I still do, you just can't see it. Some of this is my hair and some of this isn't. So I didn't inherit my dad's genetics, but I still have shitty genetics somewhere in terms of the sides of my head. Who knows where that's from? Probably from some aspect of my mom's side of the family. I am not a genetics expert, so who knows? So I'm just giving you my context as to how this works. So by the way, if you have a dad who was bald at a very early age or started losing his hair at a very early age, and you look like him, your body looks like him, odds are you're gonna have that same problem that he did. Odds are, not necessarily. Really depends on the roll of the dice. So here's how this dumb thing works. This is called the hair band. I did not get the hair hat or hair cap because I don't need my whole head addressed. I just need the sides of my head. So you turn this thing on. The way it's supposed to work is that you stick it on the top of your head and it vibrates every 30 seconds and then you move it like this and then you move it again, and you move it again, and you move it again. You need about a minute or two per day, and it takes about 5 months to see a difference, which really sucks, but it's the way it goes. So what I did is I don't need the top of my head address, I just want the sides of my head like this. So I just attached some Velcro here. Put this on. See, I'm gonna fuck this up for this video. So that way, so it just vibrated. What I do is I just do this. Now I don't just sit it on like this, because if I sit it here, it doesn't cover the front of my sides here, so I turn it to the side. My Velcro isn't tight enough. Normally this would be tight enough, and I just set a timer for 3 minutes. I just do this while I'm sitting at my desk. It stays on my head without me holding it, and then I turn it this way to cover the other side, 3 minutes, and then I take it off. And that's it. And this thing charges with the standard USB plug, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna do that once a day starting now. I started this about 4 or 5 days ago. Wait 5 months and see if it makes a difference. My odds of success on this, I am guessing I have about a 40% chance of, in 5 months, really seeing a noticeable difference in hair growth on the sides of my head. 60% chance I see little to no difference whatsoever, and then I'll throw this fucking thing away. But at least I'll know what doesn't work. And by the way, that is the advantage of experiments. It's not that you wasted your time. Now you know what doesn't work. Thomas Edison said that. So, those of you who have thinning hair on the side of your head, you could look into something like this. Those of you who have thinning hair, just you're starting to thin on the top of your head, you can look at one of these options. As always, my standard spiel, if you're really having thinning hair on the top of your head, you guys over the age of 35, you must address it. You can't just have massively thinning hair across the top of your head. You have 3 options and they're all bad. Option 1, if you have the facial structure for it, and a lot of men don't, I certainly do not, but if you do, shave your entire head. And make sure you stay reasonably tan, because if you're really white and you have a shaved head, you look terrible. Option 1. Option 2, what I did, non-surgical hair restoration, where there's a mesh on your head, your real hair grows through it, and you look like this. Or maybe you can look better than this, who knows? I don't know if I'm the model for this shit, but that worked for me. Option 3 is you actually get the surgery. Much more expensive, but some guys like that better than the non-surgical option. You've got to do one of those 3 choices. You have to do that. You have no choice unless you are one of the very rare genetically blessed men who have a full head of hair into your 80s. Those men are very, very rare, and if you're one of them, great, God bless you. But if you're the standard typical guy, and your odds are you probably are, you're gonna have to use one of these methods. What I will do in about 5 or 6 months from now is I will do a follow-up video on this, and I will let you know, I'll show you the difference to see if there's any difference, and we'll see what happens. If you want more information on this, in the meantime, you can click here where I address several questions and answers about my physical appearance, including my hair, or you can click here for a technique that works very well with younger women. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.